Yes, indeed. You're tuned in to KEXP, 90.3 FM Seattle, KEXP.org, all around the world. My name is Mizell Jr. I'm here in the live room right now with a special world premiere right now. Now, my man was just here not too long ago with his legendary group, the Jungle Brothers, but he's got a brand new project here. I'm talking about Afrika, Baby Bam. Bro, what's happening?
All good, man. All good, Larry.
Thanks for bringing this here, y'all.
Thanks for bringing us back.
Most definitely. Let's get into it.
Let's get it.
Okay.
Fucking Christ, got money to burn and hell to pay. Getting rich like motherfuckers selling slaves. I found my thrill on White Lady Road. I'm a super tramp, take the low way home. You a Bobby doll, I'm a G.I. Joe. And my funky poetry is for psycho. So open your mind, you need to grow. Up high, down low, in the middle too slow. Gotta sell tickets to the gun show so we can get more bottles of Prosecco. Gotta sell tickets to the gun show so we can get more bottles of Prosecco. Whoa! Gotta sell tickets to the gun show, get more bottles of Prosecco. Gotta sell tickets to the gun show so we can get more bottles of Prosecco. Hit it from the front, hit it from the back, hit a home run with a baseball bat. Hit it like a bunch of killer bees on the map, make it hard to believe it's an asthma attack. Think out loud for the hard of hearing. Drop another beat, I'm guest appearing. Touchdown with no interference, and we don't need no security clearance. You a Barbie doll, I'm a G.I. Joe, and my funky poetry is for psycho. So open your mind, you need to grow. Up high, down low, in the middle too slow. Gotta sell tickets to the gun show so we can get more bottles of Prosecco. Gotta sell tickets to the gun show so we can get more bottles of Prosecco. Whoa! Gotta sell tickets to the gun show so we can get more bottles of Prosecco. Gotta sell tickets to the gun show so we can get more bottles of Prosecco. Rock so hard, rock so easy, rock so sleepy, rock so greasy, rock so loud, rock so soft, rock so in, rock so north. Jump up and down, scream from the top, jump up and down, scream from the bottom. Bottles of Prosecco, bottles of Prosecco, bottles of Prosecco, bottles of Prosecco. Gotta sell tickets to the gun show so we can get more bottles of Prosecco. Gotta sell tickets to the gun show so we can get more bottles of Prosecco. Gotta sell tickets to the gun show so we can get more bottles of Prosecco. Gotta sell tickets to the gun show so we can get more bottles of Prosecco. Gotta sell tickets to the gun show so we can get more bottles of Prosecco. Gotta sell tickets to the gun show so we can get more bottles of Prosecco. Yeah! Bottles of Prosecco. Tickets to the gun show. Bottles of Prosecco. Tickets to the gun show. Yeah! One, two, three, and name images like this, sophisticated devices, and the shit is priceless, in control of the wheels of steel. Make a bet, get away on the highway, get away. Cash on that getaway, car chase seed. Ow! Run, catch, and kiss with poison on your lips. I'm your 007 with evil at my fingertips. You'll never break our bond until the day you're gone. Our legacy will carry on. You'll never break our bond. rappers can't see your face. Cut to the chase on a speed date. You'll never break our bond. Do yourself a favor. Don't fall in love with me. The life that I lead will bring you death and misery. If you put me under your wing, get the wedding ring. You'll never move on. You'll never break our bond. Death at my fingertips. Never move on. Never break our bond. Turn it up. You'll never break our bond. Turn it up. Sick, twisted romance on the dark side of love. You want me to let my guards down so you can throw me under a bus. You'll see things my way with a bullet in your gun. You can throw me off of a bridge, but you'll never break our bond. You'll never break our bond until the day you're gone. Our legacy will carry on. You'll never break our bond. You'll never break our bond until the day you're gone. Our legacy you'll carry on. You'll never break our bond. Death at my fingertips. Never move on. Never break our bond. Turn it up. You'll never break our bond. Turn it up. You'll never break our bond.
Afrika, baby, bam, live on KEXP. Just the cup of coffee I needed. Yes, indeed.
Yes, sir. Let's go. Liquid death. Liquid death. Liquid death. Liquid death. Set trap your boundaries. You lost, you and found me. Woke up in the morning and started acting real rowdy. Nobody around me to feed off my energy. Scuffing up my dogs and fucking up my legacy. Him juice and hot sauce. Mojo is working. Get my rocks off. Your lower back is hurting. Big bubble letters, that means it's overweight for me. Pockets getting fat, type 2 diabetes. Cocaine cowboy with the key to the city. Bring vinyl back cause your album's a frisbee. Beats are so lethal when I'm on the edge. And your breath smells like liquid death. Liquid death. Liquid death. Liquid death. Liquid death. Waiting on the block for your chips to making that fall. Picking up where we left off. Ooh, baby, I like it raw. Jerking off is bad for my mental health. But I can show you how to go fuck yourself. Generation gap, I got the different audience. Cause I'm not down with all this adult corny shit. Produce and coaches and throw back those days. Cocaine cowboys, we rockin' on and on. Call an ambulance for all you hell-wanted posers. My dick on your shoulder, I know you want torture. Put my foot down on your pedals of distortion. Liquid death. Liquid death. Liquid death. Liquid death. Sorry, I'm not sorry, I don't accept your apology. Just cause you're a Gemini, I don't mean you a prodigy. A slap in the face, a kiss on the cheek. Your love feels like a security breach. At your private events, you got 2 seconds to stop talking all that nonsense. Set trips or set off the alarm for no reason. Gluten-free power without all you vegans. bananas. When I drop my new shit, it look like bananas. Turn off the cameras, shove it up your asshole. If you ain't got a telescope to see the real black hole, liquid death. Liquid death. Liquid death. Liquid death. Still catching man beat down, so I retreat back to my own stomping grounds. Regroup and lounge, put on a couple of pounds and make plans to create the wrong or wrong sound. Without love and support, I might come up short, but I dare not resort to the low light sport. Young bucks nowadays, grown men my own age, make the front page like getting locked in the cage, pumping self-destruction in their production. Souls get sucked into the evil corruption. The odds up against me, the world roaming at me, bad thoughts on my mind, but I won't let it tell me organized confusion. Back into illusion, I throw up my guards to combat intrusion. Throw up my guards to combat intrusion. Throw up my guards to combat intrusion. Liquid death. Liquid death. Liquid death. Liquid death.
Ooh wee. Africa Baby Bam live on KEXP, and we just got one more.
Shut the fuck up! Up and listen to me now. Break the fuck up and turn your head around. Motherfuckers coming from the underground. People talk shit about my hood and don't really know what the fuck is good. Come to the crib and inflate the price and don't know shit about the ghetto life. Just wanna see artwork on the wall. Tall guy telling them about it all. Fair trade and organic shit. Starbucks having sex with mannequins. Fairy tales on the streets. Roommates in Airbnb. College educated thoughts. Oh my God, we live in New York. Bushwick versus Willie Burger. Lower East Side. Fire, DIY. Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up and listen to me now. Wake the fuck up and turn your head around. Motherfuckers coming from the underground. Yeah! Shut the fuck up and listen to me now. Wake the fuck up and turn your head around. Motherfuckers coming from the underground. Red wine in the cellar. Take the L. Eat it for Selka. Interracial play dates. Rainbow colored cupcakes. Stay woke. Fuck that. It's time to take another disco nap. Walk your dog in scuba gear. Jogging Lululemon wear. Call back home, I made it safe. My money made niggas evaporate. My trust fund, I trust fund. My head hurt, my hedge funds. My passport, my customs. Got Gucci on my North Face. Fire, DIY. Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up and listen to me. Wake the fuck up and turn your head around. Motherfuckers coming from the underground. Shut the fuck up and listen to me. Wake the fuck up and turn your head around. Motherfuckers coming from the underground. Student jazz in the park. Happy hour at the bar. Roller skating after dark. I'm white and love Kendrick Lamar. I'm black and I love Jimi Hendrix. Pissing shit in the same sentence. Dick in a box, open your present. Pay your rent, you fucking peasant. African, American. Africans are not American. Americans are not American. Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up and listen to me now. Wake the fuck up and turn your head around. Motherfuckers coming from the underground. Yeah! Shut the fuck up and listen to me now. Wake the fuck
Afrika, baby, bam, right here on KEXP. This is a world premiere, premiere. Yo, thank y'all for bringing that energy right now.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you, KEXP.
That's the first time this has been seen in these United States. Am I right?
Absolutely. This is hot off the press.
Oh my goodness. So y'all did a couple shows though outside the U.S., right?
Yeah, we took this straight to Japan after we recorded it in Bushwick, Brooklyn. So we got to New York just spontaneously from England. And while this man, Jai, was talking to a guy living on the street that I call Oscar the Grouch, I happened to look down at a telephone pole and I saw the studio. And he knows I always get excited about studios, but I don't know nothing about live music and equipment and stuff. So I waited for him to finish talking to Oscar the Grouch, and I gave him the studio, on Instagram. He's like, yep, those are the right drums, that's the right mics, ba-da-ba-da, ba-da-ba-da. And we wind up serendipitously, organically, all that spiritual stuff. We wind up making this album just like that. Like I had a bag of like lyrics just shredded around, pieces here and there. And these guys, Jai and Will, who I call Mullet Man, they're best friends from like the time they were 2 years old. So they had a bag of goodies from their childhood waiting for me to do in the studio. And I just did my thing on top. And, we became best friends like that and just made this record.
I love it. This has the energy of something that came together like lightning.
Yeah, it was definitely like that because, we were kind of like fueled on coffee in Brooklyn.
Right.
And I haven't lived there since 1997. So I was just like, yo, I'm going to go to Brooklyn and see your version of it. So that meant a lot of coffee and a lot of like cunty hipster places and stuff.
Okay.
So we were just fueled off of that. I'm just being honest, man.
It's giving.
So that kind of bleeded into the lyrics. Shut the fuck up is about all of that, like fi-dye and gentrified stuff, like just like a piss take.
Yeah. I love it. And this I know is going to be a surprise to so many people who've been familiar with your music for decades. I know that you have always been a musically voracious cat though. Even like the house influence that came with All House You, that came from you being on the scene back in the day, right?
Yeah, actually, yeah, because I would go to like a hip hop club, and then all the dancers, like the real good dancers, would be like, "Come on, we're going to another spot."
Right.
But where are we going?
Right.
And there was always this after hour hole in the wall house music club, like till 5, 6 in the morning. Because the hip hop stuff would stop at like midnight.
Right.
And I want to keep partying, so I follow these guys, and that's how I wind up in a different, scene.
Right.
So I'm always kind of I'm nomadic. I'll be wandering around, and I'm kind of like a social chameleon. So I just get in people's groups, and they think I'm from that group, and I'm just like, respect, hang out. So I'm with the ravers, I'm with the punk rockers, I'm with the house heads. I'm with everybody, yo.
It pays to stay curious and to stay learning your whole life.
Yeah, I'm crazy curious.
Yeah.
Crazy curious. But like, I went through this period where I had to be like, study the backbone of music. So I went and studied music theory to like identify the things that are pushing my buttons. And that's what led to this project, because like for 15 years, I was like, I want to do rock and roll. I want to do rock and roll. I went to the beach and I Art Basel Week.
Yeah.
And this man popped out from backstage onto the stage going crazy. No shirt on, hair down to his fucking chest. And I looked at my Japanese princess and I was like, yo, who the fuck is that, man? And she was like, that's Iggy Pop. And I was like, that's me for the rest of my fucking life.
Wow.
That dude is me. I mean, he must have been like 65 at the time. And I was like, yeah, dude, I'm going to be rocking out like that when I'm 65. I must have been like, I don't know, like 39 or some shit like that. And I was like, that's my future. So I just held that note for about 15, 16 years. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then I met Jai like 8 years ago. He was going to New York. And I was going, I was doing my England thing. So we kind of swapped. And then like in 2 years ago, I reunited with him in a coincidental email. And I was like, yo, man, I'm in your backyard. Let's go. And from there, we just started like going on joy rides, listening to Blink 182 and Offspring and name drop after name drop. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, this is this shit I want to do.
Right.
And here we are.
I love it. And I love that the inspiration comes from like the icon of like punk to the very last who's still holding it up, Iggy Pop. That's amazing.
Yeah, that was amazing. I was like, it just punched me in the face. I was like, yo, who is that? She's like, that's Iggy Pop. I was like, wow. That's what I'm doing.
Yes.
So I studied the music theory. I sucked on guitar lessons. I took some boxing, some circuit training to get my heart rate up and everything, you know. So like
it's a different breath control, right?
Yeah, breath control. It's breath control. And then it's just like I started painting T-shirts and just being scrappy. And I was like, yeah, everything works when it's punk. You know what I'm saying? Like you could fuck your lyrics up. You could growl and shit like that, man. So I was like, cool. This embodies like all the characters and personalities I have inside me. You know what I'm saying? I can let them all out. You know what I'm saying? Like hip hop's a little bit narrow and it's like perfect and, you know, like polished and stuff, which is cool. It got to that point, you know, it galvanized. But like punk, you could still like fuck up, man. You know, you could still just do your shit.
Right.
And that's what I needed at that time. I was like, I need to unpack everything.
Right.
Yeah.
It makes so much sense to me. Punk and hip hop have always been play cousins. I feel like most punk singers for decades have been rapping. Their delivery is in the mode of rapping. And I think a lot of them will tell you that's where they got it from.
Yeah.
And I even got turned on to hardcore because of rap. Like somebody sold me a Beastie Boys tape out of their backpack and I popped it in. I was like, hold on, what is this? And it was their old hardcore stuff. So I'm curious, were you aware of kind of like the punk thing going on in New York, kind of early 80s?
See, that's the thing. Like, I'm a baby from the 70s, you know? So a lot of these waves started coming in just around that time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
Like hip-hop 73, you know, punk rock before that, you know, and then disco, and then new wave, and then there was all these waves coming in, right? And in New York, because it's such a, like, cultural melting pot, and the boombox was the big thing. Like you would hear all these things. Like if you walked in certain zones, you know what I mean? Like if I went over to my grandmother's house in Albany Projects, I heard Jimmy Spice's super rhymes bouncing off the wall. If we went and took a trip to the Village, I'd hear The Clash.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like if I turn on the radio, I could hear Spandau Ballet. You know what I'm saying? Like it was all this like. And then the melodic R&B with New Edition. It was just eclectic.
Right.
Very eclectic. And my mom's was kind of hippie, so she'd have the Lou Reed going and all that stuff. And my dad was a jazz buff, so he'd have the Miles Davis stuff going. So I'm just all mixed up inside. You know what I'm saying? So New York brought all that to me. But then I had to, as an afterthought, start looking these things up and going, oh, and categorizing them, which I didn't want to do because in New York, you got Latin house, freestyle house. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like everything is about grooves and rhythms at that time because people are dancing. If they could groove to it, it's like it doesn't matter what you call it. Right. You know what I'm saying? You got the New York hardcore scene. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's doing all kind of crazy shit. Warhol, Basquiat. Everybody is in that era. Right. But I'm kind of an outlier because I grew up in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn. So I'm like in this small town USA version of New York where people are like, where is that? So I'd have to go over a bridge like Dorothy to the Land of Oz, which was Manhattan, and be like, oh, wow, what's all of this stuff, man? And it's just hitting me left and right, and I'm responding to it. Right. Now I could like look at it and identify it and be like, oh, that's that, and that's why that's why Pet Shop Boys did that. Right. Oh, that's why Iggy Pop did that. So like punk was the last Lego block to the whole piece where it's like, dude, you can spray paint over all of this shit. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. And that's where we are today.
So as like a musically voracious cat, as you're putting together these Legos and stuff, and you're kind of observing them with your folks, are people like, what's going on with you, man? Are you crazy? Right? What are you on? Because I had that experience. That's why I say that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I was wise enough to do it in isolation. Right. Because in other, how could I put this? In other eras of my career, I was too naive, and I would do squares in front of circles, and circles in front of triangles, and triangles in front of quadrilaterals, and they'd be like, "What? Right? What are you doing?" And all I could say is, man, I'm experimental. What's that? You know, so this particular thing, I got on a plane and got far, far away from the land of Oz to what my brother describes as a side door, which was just a back alleyway in a hostel in England. And I was just folded up in there for like a year. And I would just go out that hostel to get paint and meet with Jai and just kind of like open up to him. Like, you know, this is the type of music I like, you know, I make this kind of artwork. And, you know, Bristol is kind of like scattered all over the place anyway. You know, people painting in the street, bonfires in the street. So everything's a mess. So nobody's going to look at you and be like, dude, man, you didn't iron your pants today. Like,
Right. Where's your crease?
Yo, where's your crease, bro?
Yeah.
You know, so I was able to like play knowing that nobody back in the land of Oz could see me. You know what I'm saying? And then that formed us. So when we went to New York, I was like, we're going to the land of Oz. There's going to be like the panel of judgment.
Yeah.
Let's try to stay outside of that. So I didn't call my peoples. We got in another hostile situation. We found the studio like just outside the grid in an industrial area. And, you know, we continued to fully be ourselves without the panel of judgment.
Right. I love that. No expectations. You're able to just really do that thing.
And at the same time, we did it in good form because like these childhood buddies, they've been doing this forever. So they had stuff in their back pocket. So it was well structured, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then my personality mixes with theirs because, you know, it's like the native tongue days. These guys are joking all around all the time and it's bringing back memories of when we were like innocent, nascent, not corporate.
Right.
So I'm like, cool, this is, you guys have that still. I remember that. I'm in that. And that was a part of the recording process.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
To touch that and feel that feeling that's, you know, was part of the genesis of so much and have that sparked and be rejuvenated by it. That's amazing, bro.
Yeah, it's a really amazing thing. And it really, doing the punk rock thing put me back to square one with hip hop's original intention.
Yes.
Which was, let's rock the house.
Yes.
Not the jiggy.
Right.
Let's rock the house.
Right.
Break out the drum machines, break out the decks, rock the mics with the echo chamber.
Yeah.
Let's rock the house. You know, all that B-boy posturing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was like, we busting through the doors. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Not to go in the freaking dressing room and put on the brand name.
Right.
We building our own stuff, DIY. We got our own shirts. We got everything. We busting through. That reminded me of, you know, the early days of hip hop. Like, oh, the original intention was like rock and roll,
Yes.
but over a drum machine,
Yes.
so I could yell again.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I could get, I could fully be me, and that was the biggest gift of this whole project, to reset to something I still love, but from a time where the intention was the same as punk rock, and go, wow, there's a whole landscape open right now for me. I'm going that way.
That's a beautiful thing, bro. How did you meet Jai and Will?
I met Jai through another project that he was working on that they wanted me in on. So I was hanging out with those musicians, and Jai kind of came out to have a cup of coffee because he loves coffee, and he just mentioned, yeah, I'm going to New York to play drums. And I just kind of vaguely remember that conversation. So then, like, that band emailed me again on November 25th, Thanksgiving 2021 or something like that.
Okay.
And I'm, you know, England don't do Thanksgiving, so I was just like, whatever, yeah, man. Like, and then Mike hit me up, happy Thanksgiving. I was like, what's going on today? And these guys hit me up, and I thought it was an old thread. So I was like, you still asking me about that record 8 years later? So I was like, okay, cool, man. I'm in Bristol. What? You're in Bristol? So I came down and I reunited with Jai. So it was 8 years of just blankitude. Wow. Then I meet this dude, and we kind of like bond just as brothers. No music, just as brothers. And slowly but surely, you know, I'm like, yo, this dude is doing soul music, but I know he's got some punk rock in his back pocket. His mom's was in a punk rock band. So I'm like, and he's like, oh yeah, man. And he had one like bad day, and we went on like a joyride, and he hit that playlist with all his favorite stuff from when he was a kid. And I was like, that's what I want. What is that? He's like, that's Offspring. Can I scream? That. Give me that. And he was like, okay, man, you like this stuff? I was like, yeah, man, let's get in. So then he showed me their band when they were kids called Half Naked. And I was like, that's a dope name. That's dope music. You guys deserve to freaking make it. Let's make it together. And that's how it just one thing roll into another, you know? And then I started to meet Mullet Man, you know? And, you know, it's all good. It just really happened organically. Like friendships, childhood friendships. I'm still a big kid. I still believe in childhood friendships as a way to bond as adults.
That's beautiful, man. That's real. And I feel like that childhood yell is still in you and was waiting.
Yeah. I can't hold that in, man. Like,
right.
What? I can't go to the other side and be like, why didn't I scream when I was there? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the way that's why when I saw Iggy, I was like, if he's close to 70 and he's still doing that, then nobody's going to stop me from doing what he's doing. Facts. That was my role model. I was like, that's what I'm doing. Period. If he can get away with it, so can I. I just don't have the long hair and stuff like that. And, you know, both my legs are the same height, you know, but like, yo.
You wild.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I could get a special shoe.
Right.
With one long heel.
You got to get the abs out, man.
Limp. I got the abs.
That's next.
Yeah, that's next.
Bring you about.
Yeah.
What is next for this project?
Okay, so we debuted it in Japan on a low. Now we just did a big block of cheese on KEXP.
That's right.
And I kind of feel like, you know, we're going to follow your lead.
Okay.
You know, because we got probably 6 or 7 music videos just from friends shooting on this project.
Dope.
And Job's like, yo, man, let's do KEXP and just wait, man. Then we'll put all that stuff out, man. I was like, okay, cool, man, whatever, man. Like, whatever. I'm just rolling with the energy of the universe, man. Like, this is not going to be a formulaic thing. I love KEXP. I love Seattle. Everything is just humble and organic. It just let's just keep rolling with that vibe.
Church.
So that's how I met him. It's all been serendipitous.
Yeah.
That's how I met Mullet Man. And look, this is great stuff. I've been sitting on this for 15 years. I lived in a freaking studio flat near the English Channel in Ramsgate, England. Grueling over doing this. And before I knew these guys, when I was just walking around dumb, like no lyrics, nothing, taking music theory lessons, feeling like I'm back in kindergarten. I got my certificates for grade 1, 2, and 3 with distinctions. I was sitting next to 10-year-olds taking the test for music theory. You know how I felt?
Yeah, I can imagine.
Super left back.
You've toured the world at this point. You know?
60 countries I've been to. Yeah. Lived in 10 of them. And I'm sitting there taking my exam next to 4th and 5th graders, 6th graders. And I'm like, I'm going to do this, man. I don't care if this is embarrassing. Like, the teacher's laughing at me. And I'm like, I'm doing this, man. So this is where we got with it. You know what I'm saying? So the universe has started to roll out things because I meditate and the teachings say to let things unfold for you. Don't try to interfere with stuff. Move with the intuition. So everything that I'm doing is based on that.
That's the truth. That's the path.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, y'all, thank y'all for bringing this project here. I'm really excited that we're getting to premiere this, and I'm really excited to see what happens.
Thank you, Larry.
Absolutely. Africa Baby Bam, live right here on KEXP, listener powered all day. It all happens because of your support. The programming, amazing sessions like this, a world premiere like you just saw happens because of all the support from this amazing community. Go make sure you like and subscribe on the YouTube channel, all that stuff. Make a donation, go to kexp.org and show your love. Thank you so much for powering all that we do. This is KEXP. Discover new music at kexp.org.